Between the hairball coughed up in Bubsy the Woolly Strike Back, and now the latest in line of abominations, Shaq-Fu A Legend Reborn has proven to me one thing: that games with questionable quality of the ancient past attempted to be rebooted for a modern audience should die a miserable death. Because Shaq-Fu A Legend Reborn is abhorrent, costing you $19.99 on the PC, $29.99 on the PS4 for the physical edition, and $39.99 for the physical edition on the Switch for some asinine reason. But don't even bother with being outraged at the dumb pricing. Any version of this game isn't worth buying, because it seems that if Shaq is involved in a media project, it's going to be horrid. The story involves Shaq being raised as an orphan in China and being the chosen one to defeat a set of fake celebrities trying to mind control the world. Now, while that description may sound like a fun plot and game, the game doesn't have the writing to back it up. The game is very much like Shaq at the free throw line. Once in a blue moon, the game hits with a clever reference, like with China's overpopulation problem. But most of the time, the attempts at humor miss the net entirely, going from cringeworthy to, how the hell is this a joke? Which is sad, because the best thing the game has to offer is its artwork, particularly in the cutscenes. Some of the comic-like styles give the game a bit of character, and while the 3D assets don't work quite as well, there are at least some fun elements to look at here, like the hat spinning down after knocking a Chineseman across the way. Granted, it doesn't overlook some of the bad textures in the background, like the Minecraft-looking dirt here. But hey, at least it's something, which is more than the rest of the game has going for it. Because, let's just put it this way, the gameplay is the worst beat-em-up I've ever played. Yes, ever. Almost immediately, the game feels unwieldy, as illustrated by this ridiculous jump. It doesn't help that it feels like you're controlling Shaq in the modern day, with his knees being made of cardboard and him struggling to move up and down on the screen. With only a simple attack button, a special attack when you combo, and a dash attack that sorta has a lot of collision issues, the game quickly becomes boring. Yeah, sure, some different enemy types are introduced quickly here, but the feeling of newness fades really quickly when the lack of substantial combos exist and the mechanics don't really do much other than, don't use this attack on this enemy type. It doesn't feel satisfying to kill enemies here, especially when you get the two overpowered suits that basically have you hold down a button and move around without any thought. There's no strategy, there's no ideas put into this gameplay, it's just kill, 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 even on the harder difficulties in my opinion. But it's the repetition and length of each level that absolutely kills it, and nothing makes that more obvious than the last two levels of the game, where it repeats these two segments back to back that just waste your time. Simple beat-em-ups can work, but they have to have a little bit of variety and pizzazz, and that's what Shaq-Fu does not have. The bosses are uninteresting other than the shock value and some of the depictions of celebrities here, including the giant butt you face. And you'd think that any game with a giant butt as an enemy would be worth a look, but no, the gameplay is that bad. If the game isn't making you wonder about the glitching of models or making you think that certain sounds were missing from attacks, it makes you question the purpose of the game with marketing of Shaq sponsors like Icy Hot and Gold Bond. There is no set of conditions that make Shaq-Fu A Legend Reborn worth a purchase. One of the lowest scores, if not the lowest score on the channel to date, Shaq-Fu A Legend Reborn earns a 20 out of 100, meaning do not buy this freaking game even for the jokes. Oh, and don't bother with the enhancers either, cause they don't make this game buyable in any situation. Needless to say, the game pulled a J.R. Smith. It completely forgot to show up when it really needed to. It is worse than Bubsy the Woolly Strike Back. And that is frickin' saying something.